Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going on to creditors. So we need to understand what is a creditor and how do we record all the transactions for creditors, right? So I've just given you an example here. If our company is company A and we're going to company B, we're going to buy some goods, right? Or trading stock, okay? But we do not pay them cash. So what happens is we receive an invoice from them and the invoice shows us how much of money do we owe to B. And they may give us a 10% trade discount, which we will do a bit later on, right? So we are going to another company. We are buying some goods on credit. So it means that we have a creditor. We have to create a liability and we are owing them the money, right? Okay, you all know that creditors have a credit balance because it has a it's recorded as a liability, and we'll go through the entries now. So for example, if we're buying on credit trading stock from B, they're going to give us an invoice and then we are going to owe them the money and we're going to record them as a creditor. Or if we go to B and they provide a service for us, example, they do some repairs to our business and we haven't paid them the money, they're going to give us an invoice, we're owing them the money and then we're recording it as a creditor and we owe them the money, so it becomes a liability in our business, right? So the big difference is that we do not pay them any cash or any check for the services or the trading stock that we have got from them. We owe them the money and we are keeping the invoices to keep track of how much money we owe them, right? So let's go to our first transaction here. Okay, so what I've written here is I've bought trading stock from Sparky for 450 Rand less 50 Rand trade discount. Now this is where the trade discount comes into play, and remember, this is not like debtors. We don't have 2 transactions or 4 entries where we're entering the discount. This discount here is recorded by the creditor. Okay, we just take the invoice amount. The invoice amount would be 450 Rand less the discount, which is 50 Rand, and we are only going to record this 400 Rand here. Okay, so we are not going to concentrate on the discount of the 50 Rand. That's going to be done. Remember, we will be a debtor for them, so they'll have those 4 entries that we did before in the debtors. So for now, it's easier for us. We are the creditors here, so we're only going to concentrate on this 400 Rand amount here, which is less the discount. Okay, so how are we going to do this entry here? Trading stock is increasing, right? So if we look at our transaction, we are looking for 3 things. We are looking for the 2 entries that we've got. We've got trading stock, okay, and we've got a creditor, right? And we're looking for our amount. Our amount is going to be 400 Rand, right? So I'm going to debit my trading stock with 400 Rand because my trading stock has increased by 400 Rand. And what am I going to credit? I'm going to credit my creditors control with 400 Rand. So what have I done in this transaction here? Stock has come into my business. So stock is an asset. So I've debited my asset here. It has a debit balance. So it's increased on the debit side. And this becomes a liability. My liability is increasing. It increases on the credit side. So I've credited 400 Rand in my creditors control. Okay, let's look at another transaction. I've bought equipment for 1200 Rand and stationery for 800 Rand from Macro and on credit. So what does that mean? I didn't give them any cash. I took it on credit, so I'm going to have an invoice, right? Now I need to record the transactions. So what is that? Let's divide it into 2 transactions. So I've got equipment of 1200 Rand. I've got stationery. There's no discounts here, so I don't need to worry about that. So I have equipment, stationery, and I have a creditor, right? So equipment is an asset. I'm going to debit my equipment with 1200 Rand. Stationery is an expense. I'm going to debit my stationery with 800 Rand. It's increasing on the debit side. And then my liability is increasing on the credit side. So I'm going to credit my creditors control with the 2,000 Rand. Okay, can you see what has happened here? I've bought equipment on credit. I've bought stationery on credit. They have debit balances, and my credit goes into my creditors control amount. And we're going to go through the creditors journal to see. I just want you to understand the T accounts for now. So can you see we are crediting the liability, and then we are debiting either the stock or the equipment or the stationery, right? Let's look at this one here where it's a service. Repairs done on credit for 190 Rand from Alco Services. So what do we have? We have got repairs. That's the first part. We're looking for two things. We've got a creditor, and then we have our amount. There's no discount here again. So what are we going to do? Repairs is an expense. We're going to debit our repairs with 190. And what are we going to credit? We're going to credit our liability with 190 Rand, which is showing that we are owing 190 Rand. So eventually you will see when we do the creditors journal, you will have the 400, the 2,000 and the 190 all coming into the creditors journal. Okay, let's move on. So now I want to just follow the transaction into the creditors journal. So I've used this example here, right? Okay, so our first transaction was saying that we have bought from Sparky, right? We bought trading stock from Sparky for 400 Rand, right? Remember the 400 Rand, for the 50 Rand discount. Can you see there's nothing here for the 400, for the 50 Rand discount that goes into the debtors books? We don't worry about it. We take the creditors control. We're putting 400 Rand, so we're owing 400 Rand to Sparky Co., right? Look at the invoice number here. It's X4, okay? The day is the 9th. Our creditor is Sparky and Company. We'll do the folios just now. Then we put 400 Rand into our creditors control account and 400 Rand into our trading stock column. Right? Then we've got this transaction here where we went to Macro. We bought equipment for 1,200 and stationery for 800. There's your invoice number. You're putting your invoice number B2. What date did I get it on? What date did I buy it on? On the 15th. From who? Who's the creditor? Macro. And then I put 2,000 Rand showing that I'm owing 2,000 Rand. And what was the 2,000 Rand for? Equipment was 1,200 and stationery was 800 Rand. Okay. Then the third one was the repairs were done by Alco Services for 190 Rand. There's my invoice V12, my date I got from my transaction there, which is on the 24th. Who am I owing? Alco Services. 190 Rand goes into the creditors control amount. And I don't have a column for repairs, so I put it into sundry accounts, 190 Rand. And my details are repairs. So this is called a creditors journal. Okay, you can see here we've done it for the Sonia's Cafe. It's at the end of January 20.1. So what is happening for the 1 month, right? We are recording all the invoices that we have bought on credit. So we are recording daily transactions as they occur on the date that they occur. So this journal, we are keeping track of all our daily transactions, what's happening. Same how we did our CPJ. We were doing cash transactions or the CRJ, cash receipts or cash payments. Now we're recording everything that we've bought on credit. Okay, so you can see the dates are going in chronological order, but the invoices have no order because they're coming from all different suppliers, right? So each one of them have their own way of naming the invoices, so you can't name them X4, X5, X6. As the invoice comes in, you find the invoice in the transaction and then you record it there. So now we're going to follow the creditors control and see how we're going to post this into the creditors, into the general ledger, right? So once we've completed our creditors journal for our transactions, now we've got the creditors control, and we need to see how to post it to our general ledger, right? Okay, so now we're starting with those balances that I've shown you in the book, right? My creditors control is 2590. My trading stock was 400. My equipment total was 1200. Stationery 800 and repairs was 190. Now remember your general ledger you're going to do at the end of the month, right? These are daily postings. We post into the journal every day. We keep records, and to make life easy, we're only posting the totals, right, into the general ledger at the end of the month to see how much am I owing my creditors, how much stock did I buy, how much equipment did I buy, how much of stationery or repairs, etc. Right? So if you have a few transactions for trading stock and equipment and stationery, you're not going to record each one into the general ledger. We're just going to take the total at the end of the month. So what are we doing here? The trading stock gets debited with 400. We bought trading stock worth 400. Okay, this example only has one transaction, but normally you might have quite a few. Equipment, I bought equipment for 1200. Remember, these are all assets, so are they getting debited, right? Stationery is an expense, so we're debiting our stationery with 800. Repairs is an expense, we're debiting our repairs with 190. And what is getting credited? The creditors control gets the credit of 2590, which means at the end of this month here, we are owing different creditors 2590 then. If I do cross total check there, I have to say 400 plus 1200 plus 800 plus 190 gives me 2590. So all these totals here is showing you what did I buy or what service did I receive, and this is the total of the creditors that we are owing for the month. So that's how you do your general ledger posting, and eventually you have to see that this amount has to agree to the creditors list, which we're going to do now.